Hey, what's up, you guys? I'm Jaquan,
I'm Jasmine.
and welcome to the Film Spill.
So, today, guys, we're going to be reviewing Scandal. This is a drama series, and here is the summary. Olivia Pope, a former media consultant to the president, is ready to move on with her life and opens her own crisis management firm. But she can't seem to shake ties with her past. As she moves forward, it becomes clear that while her staffers may specialize in cleaning up the lives of other people, they can't seem to do the same for themselves.
Yeah, so this was definitely one of our OG series. I definitely have to give Mommy a hand clap or whatever you want to give her, because this is one of those shows that you actually put me onto. And of course, in the very beginning, I ain't watching no Scandal. This ain't my speed. I don't like stuff like this. But man, when I have to say, I ended up enjoying every second of this season. It was definitely action packed. It was thriller based. It had drama, so much drama. But for the most part, it made both of us kind of think like this is the stuff that's actually happening in politics and the government for sure. The rating I'm gonna give this series is going to be a 5. Let's get into my pros and my cons. So, very first pro, like I stated, it was just a really, really great series. Olivia Pope is a beast. I feel like, once again, some of these characters in these shows, like you would really want to, in real life, you want to have somebody like this on your, on call or, on speed out. You can hit up to get you out of kind of trouble, because she was a beast. To me, I feel like hands down, Fitz is probably gonna go down as one of the best fictional presidents of all time. Like that dude just really, really went so hard. And it's funny because you know how we talk about some characters, some actors, it's like no matter whatever film you play in, like you're gonna forever be Fitz, like because you played your role so
For
well.
sure.
That's definitely one of the things with him. How well, we talked about how well they used to clean up crime scenes. They just was just so meticulous. They had like a regiment, a strategy. Anytime something happened, they had a whole entire team, the gladiators, who basically clean up the mess. Can we just talk about how much Fitz love Olivia? I feel like you cannot you cannot talk about Scandal without talking about their complicated relationship, and how this dude was really, when people say I'm gonna risk it all for you, that's exactly what they mean. I want that. That's that Fitz and Olivia type of love. It was crazy finding out that they had rigged the election, finding out Justice Vernon Thornton was behind the assassination attempt on Fitz's life, Abby stealing the files from David, Fitz killing Vernon. That was also really crazy because that was the first time from we actually saw him get his hands dirty. We was like, oh, this dude is willing to go the extra mile as well. Rowan, can we talk about Rowan? Rowan to me is going to be top 5 TV villain of all time. He's one of those dudes where it's like, I would love to have him as a dad, but I would also be afraid to have him as a dad, because if he was my dad, I know I'd be protected, but he's also crazy. So other than Olivia Pope, he was definitely very ruthless, probably the most ruthless person in the entire show. I like the fact that when they showed Rowan and you saw Fitz being the president, Rowan was not afraid of him. Like how he kind of looked at Fitz like, you're just a little boy. Yeah. This dude was a president. And that just kind of just show you the power that this dude had behind the scenes. Andrew having Olivia kidnapped to make Fitz go to jail, that was also another wild scene. Melly becoming president, I feel like the one person in this entire show messed on, or whatever you want to say,
was Melly.
She went through so much. I feel like nobody would kind of argue the stuff that she kind of went through in this entire series. So her becoming president to me was like a just do. I feel like she went through so much. Give her at least one win. Huck making Andrew have a stroke was crazy. That was just wild. This just shows you the type of stuff that they were willing to do, how extreme it was. But that really wasn't that extreme. Some of the stuff they was doing was crazier. Finding out Huck murdered a grand jury. Like, Huck was one of those dudes where it's like he was quiet, silent, but he was deadly. He was as deadly as the rest. Fitz firing Cyrus was crazy because, once again, Cyrus was his right-hand man for so long. He basically was the reason why Fitz was the president. He was also willing to go to the extreme to make sure Fitz remained president. So when he finally fired him, we was like, oh, snap, like, their relationship is kind of done. Finding out Olivia was pregnant, that was also crazy. Olivia killing Andrew, we talked about that. Like I just stated, Andrew had a stroke. He gets better. Now he's still you were in a wheelchair, trying to start trouble.
It is great.
She beat this dude with a chair and killed him. I'm like, yo, what in the world? Finding out Rowan killed Vargas, that was also wild. That was Vargas, who had just been elected president. Quinn killing Meg. And then when we found out Quinn wasn't actually dead. So Fitz and Olivia's relationship, we talked about how just complicated and just, toxic it was. I think if you looked up toxic relationship in the dictionary, they definitely popped up. Like I stated, everybody felt bad for Melly. Abby and David getting together was also crazy because Abby was a part of the Gladiators and David was trying to bring them down. So that was wild at the time. Hollis Doyle was just an op. You know, he just was all about the money and he was willing to do whatever. He was definitely one of those shady tycoons, I guess you can say, in the background. It was crazy when Fitz got shot. Olivia breaking up with Edison. I felt bad for Edison low-key. It's like a lot of these people just pawns, you know, in their schemes. Quinn turning crazy was also something that I did not predict. Like, she just became obsessed with, like, torturing and killing people. We were just like, okay. Huck was even scared. Finding out Fitz was the one who leaked the tape of him and Olivia. Like we stated, Fitz was just ready to go. He was done. He was like, I don't want to be president anymore. They're like, nah, you gonna still do this. He was trying to do whatever. Anytime something would happen, he was like, finally, now we can be together. She's like, nope. Yeah. Or whoever is like, nope. He's like, damn. So many people's lives were derailed dealing with these people. Like I stated, they just treated everybody like pawns at times. Finding out Maya, Olivia's mom, was imprisoned by Rowan for 20 years. Jake, I didn't really care for Jake as command. I feel like Rowan was just the best command. When everybody kind of started getting that title, it was just kind of just getting diluted, I guess you can say. Finding out Big Jerry raped Melly, and he might be the father of her and Fitz's teenage son, which of course ended up being false. But just the fact that he raped her, that's just still crazy. Your father raped your wife. It's like, wait, what? And she never said anything? That was wild. Quinn's and Charlie relationship was strange. Fitz's son dying was wild. So Harrison dying, a.k.a. Columbus Short, was wild. Olivia getting mad at Fitz for going to a war over her. Like we stated, this dude was willing to do whatever for her, and she was actually mad. Jake killing Russell, Samantha killing Elizabeth, Rowan killing Samantha. I didn't really like Olivia as command, just like I didn't like Jake as command. Jake killing Vanessa, and then Cyrus killing David. And last but not least, James dying was sad. But other than that, I definitely give this series a 5. Definitely recommend it.
Okay, guys. I also give this series a 5. Just like Daddy said, this is another one of our OG series. We don't really watch a whole lot of political shows, but I love how it showed all the corruption that goes on in the White House. I also love their editing and like the camera sound effects that they use consistently. So I'm just going to talk about a few of the characters. Huck, he was very loyal, but he had a lot of emotional and psychological trauma. He was treated very harshly and was forced to torture and kill people, which he actually started to find joy in. But I do think his character developed for the better because he started to trust people. He started to try to be a better person. And in the end, he basically seeked to atone for all the harm he's caused, and he started to use his skills for good. I liked his character development. Cyrus Bean. So he pulled a lot of the strings. He was very smart, but he was also very conniving. He didn't mind having people killed who got in his way. It was sad when his husband James died, though, because I feel like he really loved him. But in the later seasons, I did start to feel a little bad for him because just the sense of he just seemed so old and tired and stressed, and he was just wanted to be done with all this mess. But he was just very conniving. Olivia, very smart. She handled scandals very well, just like you said. Yeah. I would love to have her in my call log. I couldn't stand how she used to do that open mouth thing, though. She did love her white men, though, and I tell you, they were ready to risk it all for her. I didn't like how she secretly aborted Fitz's baby because he probably would have been so happy just they can have their own little family. And I didn't like how she kept going back and forth with Fitz and Jake, but basically, like you said, everybody was a pawn. Whenever she needed somebody, she was going to do whatever she needed to do to use them. Yeah. But I didn't like how she kept going back and forth. At one point, I feel like she became too power hungry, like you said, when she became command, and it didn't look right. But I'm glad at the end she stepped away from the White House. And Fitz, so his relationship with his wife was very crazy. Like you said, I felt very bad for Melly because although she wasn't like the best person, she was wronged a lot throughout the seasons. And I feel like she just really wanted like love from her husband. She wanted her family. She wanted some sense of control because she couldn't do a whole lot. Even though she was the first lady, she really didn't have no control of her life. Just like you said, Fitz loved Olivia down. He was ready to give up the presidency to settle down with her multiple times since season 1. Pretty much all he did was spend his time worrying about his relationship with Olivia. This man did not care about being president at all. He kept trying to give up that life for her, but everyone else around him wanted him to stay president for their own reasons. So they manipulated him. They pulled the strings during his presidency. It was so sad when they killed his son. But anytime, like you said, anytime I see this actor playing in anything else, I will always reference him as
Fitz.
President Fitz. Like that's just our president. But overall, I give this series a 5. It's a really, really good series.
Yeah, just like always, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. You guys have a good one.